The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the podcast belong solely to the hosts and not the host's past, present, or future employers. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Brian, Miss Berlin, and Mr. Oh, wait. Who's that on the side there? That's not Mr. Betcher. Who is that? For breaking down security.
The new Mr. Betcher.
Stand-in.
Not the... Yeah, stand-in. There you go. It's not the better Mr. Betcher, but yeah. He's just different. He's not better. He's just different. Yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
Right. So Jeremy, introduce yourselves to folks who may not have heard you on the last couple shows you've been on.
Yep. Jeremy, known as Cyborg00101 on Twitter, in charge of cybersecurity and things in local government. And I do various things on the side in the community. Most recently, we're started defense and detection tabletop trainings with Amanda, so she can go into some of that stuff, and glad to be here.
We're now officially business partners.
What? Oh, no, you can't be friends now. You're business partners.
I don't like him that much anyways.
Well, okay. Well, that's fine then. Okay, cool. Right on. Burn.
Oh, ouch.
Ouch. Stabby. So after our weeks and weeks of excellent interviews with Garrison and Leanna, which were amazing, doing physical security discussion, and all the other folks, we're just doing a little news this week. A lot of things have been going on. We had some Pwn to Own this week. Of course, we've had controversy at Pwn to Own, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We had some EC council stuff that kind of went awry. There's been a lot of drama on Twitter, and it just seems to cut. It's like Wheel of Time, it keeps spinning around and around, and we're getting back to certs and organizations that are kind of tone deaf. And then of course, there's, all kinds of geopolitical stuff, but So let's see, what do we want to start with first? I want to start with one that I thought was kind of funny. Well, not funny, depending on which company you're for, but so there was a plot by a Texas man to bomb data center in Ashburn, Virginia. And for those of you who don't know what's in Ashburn, Virginia, there apparently is a rather large data center for a company called Amazon. The feds, the U.S. Justice Department, now arrested a 28-year-old in Texas who apparently was trying to buy explosives from an undercover agent in Fort Worth, Texas. The idea was that he was going to try to take down 70% of the internet, is what he said. Is
that really 70% of the internet, though?
I don't know.
I feel like that's a high percentage.
I do know that, like, if that's US East 1, which is what everyone talks about, I know huge things like Netflix is on there, and people tend to get all pissy when they don't get their Netflix. So
sure, but that's not 70% of the internet.
Right.
70% of my life, but not no.
Right. 70% of what matters on the internet. Yeah.
Right. If it takes down Twitter, I swear.
Right. Yeah. And, he apparently had made some troubling statements on a website called mymilitia.com. Apparently that's the what's that?
It's like MySpace, but for militia members.
Right. It's like eHarmony, but for militia groups or something, Tinder for militia, swipe right or swipe left.
Yeah, militia.
Yes. Oh my God. Go on a blind date with a militia member. No. Anyway, so somebody came forward. What was that?
Nothing.
We already hit our explicit rating, so that's all good.
Yeah.
So come to find out, somebody on those militia sites may not actually be in militias and warned the FBI of issues.
What? How dare they? How
Shock.
Dare they let anybody into militias these days?
That's right. They, the U.S. attorney said, we're indebted to the concerned citizen who came forward to report the defendant's alarming online rhetoric. So, somebody wanted to make sure that their Netflix or their your AWS environment wasn't bothered by that. So yeah, they busted that up. So let me ask a question. Most of us are in the cloud. Do we have these kinds of things in our threat model? Like, how often I don't want to say how often does sites like US East 1 or Amazon infrastructure go down, because there have been outages, but I mean, if you're still using things like on-prem or a data center and you've got, anti-technology people, like the bombing that happened on Christmas Day that disrupted cellular connectivity, are those things supposed to be in our threat model, or are they just so far out of it that we don't think about it?
Well, I mean, I don't know that it necessarily has to be like militia bombing, but bombing
Right.
in general, or an explosion of some like physical, like major physical damage, I think should be in a threat model. Whether it's for whatever reason, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought that those data centers were like, you couldn't just Google them up and go, oh, here's the data center where it is, or something like that. I always thought that they were fairly secret, or, you just drive by these big ass warehouses and you don't really know what's in them, and they just happen to be a big ass data center. I thought that they were fairly secure and or secret as to where they were located. So maybe not. So
I don't know. I feel like enough, looking into it, you'd be able to figure it out, right?
You don't know how many he's bombed before.
Or tried to bomb. Yeah.
Went down the line. Right.
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah. What I don't quite understand is, you spout this stuff on one of those sites, and then somebody reaches out to you and goes, hey, would you like to buy some explosives? The first thing that doesn't go into his mind is, hey, that's an undercover FBI agent.
Right.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and buy from this guy that I don't know. I mean, sounds like the Bitcoin kind of thing. It's like, oh, I don't know this person, but I trust them implicitly because they're using the same site I am, which is kind of good, I guess, in that case. But yeah, he was trying to buy C4 from an undercover FBI agent, and unfortunately, he got invited to a Johnny Law party and is, being arraigned for charges. So 20 years in prison. So that's not good. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, because I mean, y'all do the incident, you do an incident response tabletops and stuff. That's kind of your bread and butter. How would you make this plausible to somebody? Hey, boss, somebody might bomb our data center. What are the chances of that happening? It's like 1 in a million. And what do we do about it if it happens? Well, there ain't much we can do about it. Okay, well.
I mean, load balancing.
N+1 redundancy, data center.
Okay.
Duplicate
I get
for everything.
You have a warm site, you have a cold site. What's your RPOs and RTOs, right? If your data center gets bombed and you're down for 24 hours and you had to stand up the critical apps in a different data center somewhere else, maybe that's what you do, and you're, down for a day. I mean, people were down a lot more for a day, a lot more for like either Azure's going down, or if
like Exchange stuff recently.
Right.
Or even with COVID, when people had to switch remote, they went down for a couple of days. It's, what's your acceptable downtime, depending on what you are.
So Jeremy, what are RPOs and RTOs for those folks that aren't privy to that?
Your recovery time objective and your recovery point objective.
Look at that. See, that's why we have you on this
ISSP terms.
It is.
There.
It really is.
Yeah. So those are the times that it actually takes you to get back up to operational status, and
for what types?
Right.
Yeah.
So you said load balancing. Those are, are you talking that you should have you can't just have everything in US East 1 and call it good, different availability zones? You should be like,
and maybe not everything even in Amazon.
Oh,
like I've seen, we now have customers that have multi-cloud tenancy for different stuff, just to have it, like they have the same stuff in GCP as they do in Amazon.
That sounds complicated and hard.
And like like you need multiple designs for everything then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Jeremy.
I see people do that with backups. So if they have something, they have cloud-to-cloud backups, they'll at least put their backups in a different cloud environment. Again, the backups are just there, right? running on
Okay.
top of the fabric or the cloud fabric or whatever you have.
Right. I guess that makes sense, but it kind of reminds me of when I was trying to, back in the day when I was a young IT professional, trying to go over to things like Linux from Windows. It was like you have to find analogs that work in both. So you would embrace things like Firefox and Thunderbird for mail, because those are both programs that run on both OSs, or in this case, things that run on both clouds. So you're going to be using Hadoop, or you're going to use containers, which are very much similar, like Docker or whatever. You wouldn't use the Amazonian Route 53 because that doesn't exist over there. So, your playbooks would be completely different if you had to go to Azure or whatever. So you'd want to use
using IIS, use Apache or
right, or Nginx or something like that. So try to keep the sameness across your clouds. Just make sure that whatever applications you're using are the same across, so that all you got to do is change IP addresses pretty much. So cool. Well, hope that guy enjoys federal prison, because that tends to be bad. Interstate terrorism potentially is not ever a good thing. So yeah. So what do we want to talk about next? We've got a couple things here. So Slack and Discord, or Chrome blocking ports.
Let's do Slack and Discord.
So apparently, according to e-hacking news, Slack and Discord are being hijacked by hackers to distribute malware. Let's see so it says Talos, which is Cisco security division, new research on Wednesday featuring through the COVID-19 collaboration tools like Slack and Discord are convenient mechanisms for cyber criminals. Well, yeah. But I'm not.
More people than ever now have Slack and Discord installed on everything.
Oh God, I don't know how it happened, but I have like 2 Slacks and 15 Discords, and I'm like, oh my God, how do you? Everybody has a Discord.
I wish.
I know. I'm trying to limit myself to just ones that get a lot of access, but every Discord I'm on seems like it has a crazy amount of community. So they're being utilized to serve up malware in the form of links that look reliable. So in different cases, hackers have integrated Discord into their malware to remotely control their code running on tainted machines. So they're using Discord as a command and control. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So the use of webhooks. Webhooks are
really
essentially
anything they can use for command and control now, because I think we talked a while back about command and control being hosted on GitHub and Facebook and other, just a whole bunch of different places.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, we had the guy on talking about using Slack as a C2. So that makes sense. Webhooks are essentially a URL a client can send a message to, which in turn posts that messages to a specific channel. Okay, all without the actual Discord application. So okay, I can completely understand that.
Need to be careful with your API keys. Again, you get that Discord API or Slack API key leaked, and you can post messages to that webhook, whatever you want, point to that channel, whatever configured on the, either back end or whatever app it's hooked into.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, not just your project APIs or your application APIs, but if you're posting any API keys in your playbooks or your build pipeline, playbooks or anything like that, posting them into a GitHub accidentally, that gives people access to your internal Slacks for a lot of folks. So it's definitely something you don't want to do, because they don't even need an account. Then they just need to call that API and they can get in. They don't need an account necessarily, or then maybe they need that dev's account, which wouldn't be hard to figure out, I would imagine. Wow. Yeah, that is rough. Even stealing information from victims. All right. Goodness. Okay. So if you're using Zoom, I think we can go down to Pwn to Own, because there's some issues there. So if you're using Zoom, as of for the 11th of April, there is an O-Day out for Zoom because of Pwn to Own. $200,000 was sent out to hackers at Pwn to Own. Also some Microsoft Teams issues.
I didn't know it was Teams too.
Well, that's what Security Week is saying. Yeah. So let me see, where's it at? It's a server category, 40,000. Oh, I think that's the wrong link. Let me go see if I can find a better link for what happened at Pwn to Own. There were some issues that came up about bug collisions, and I think we talked about a little bit about this beforehand. So, if you're a bug bounty hunter at a company, what's the worst thing that can happen? You find this nice fat bug, you got RCE on the engagement, you write up all this stuff, you submit it, and then they reply back, "Oh, that one's already been found. Sorry, you don't get $50."
No, it doesn't qualify. Or
It doesn't qualify, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I think something similar happened this year where somebody had a full ownage of I think it was Zoom. I want to say it was Zoom, but because that there was a bug collision, the person did not receive their full payout. And of course, it went all out on Twitter that, oh my God, this happened. They should pay out regardless. That kind of stuff. So it's different being a contest, but it's hard to blame the company, I think, in some respects, because they already know about the vulnerability, but maybe they were trying to work on the fix already. I have thoughts on this in terms of the contest, but I think it's different than, some person off the street, doing bug bounties. What's everybody's thoughts on this?
About just performing like.
Yeah. So, our friend PonySec, who does some of our tutorials and stuff, got his start as a bug bounty hunter. And he's like, couple of ones he's done and sent off to some fairly well-known organizations was like, oh, that's already been found. And it's like, well, how does he actually know that that's been found? And they just don't want to pay out. So, I mean, how can
I don't know, either make aren't those recorded?
Well, they don't have to be, right? So, I mean, there should be a transparent acknowledgement set, like centralization, right? So if you go to like disclose.io, which has a lot of the recommended vulnerability disclosure program settings, I mean, not that everyone follows those at all, but the ones that do have transparency and, try to have all those things listed out. So at least, you can see,
right.
And if it's in 90 days or 180 days, wherever their policy is, and you don't see it, acknowledged, then you're like, well, are you sure someone else?
You still owe me, man.
Right.
Yeah. I wonder about some of these because, the Pwn to Own thing, it was like, oh yeah, they knew about that one. And my thing was, well, there's one of two ways they could have done this. They could have, like Miss Berlin said, they could have just paid twice for the same bug. And the way around that would have been to have full disclosure with the organizers of Pwn to Own and go, look, we already know about these bugs. We know there's an RCE, whatever the bug list has been currently. So we have a bug bounty. Here's 15 bugs that we already know about. If they show up in the Pwn to Own, that's going to be good. And, that keeps the at least I'm not sure how everything works, but that's ideally, I'm guessing that the company doesn't disclose what they already know about to the organizers. But it would seem to me that they need to disclose at least something to the organizers so they can go, okay, we know that there's an RCE in there. If they find it, then we'll be like, okay, they told us, we know about it. We know it exists. That's exactly where you told me it was, which would require NDAs and stuff. But it sounds like they're already NDAing people. So
you don't want to list out all of the issues that you have publicly to everyone, but giving it to whoever's running the competition makes sense.
The judges. Yeah. That kind of transparency would be good where, you can say, okay, we found RCE. Okay, maybe we didn't find it this way. This is a different way to find RCE. The fix that we were going to put in for the first finding of this RCE bug was not going to fix the second finding. Okay, so we're still going to award you the prize, even though, there's a different way of doing it or a different chain or a different link there. But I mean, it's going to be harder for, if you're running a bug bounty program at your company and you're not part of Pwn to Own, what are ways of having transparency there? Is it, I mean, do you just basically say, well, we know there's cross-site scripting, or, it's really hard. It's completely different.
Because then they could get out of having to pay almost everything.
Right.
You know,
But I
you
mean,
can just say, we know of a random cross-site scripting thing, and if they want yours to fall underneath it, they could.
yeah. Yeah. It's hard to say, well, that one's already been found. And then you're like, did they really? Yeah. Like Jeremy said, there's got to be a trust there, but it's like, if it's a big fat payout, some people are, that's their livelihood. So you're ruining their paychecks at that point. So,
Right.
Yeah. So according to Bleeping Computer, I found it said 1.2 million was for exploits was demoed. So let's see. They had the Model 3 was given away. So no team signed up to hack the Tesla this year. Contestants gained code execution and escalation privileges on fully patched systems of Windows 10, Teams, Exchange, weird, Ubuntu.
Surprise.
Yeah. Exchange is starting to, Microsoft Edge.
That one was already found by 6 ATP. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you were keeping up with the news or not, but
Yeah. I think the controversy for the Pondone came from Parallels Desktop. That was the one where the person found it. Let me see. I think. Nope, they didn't go into that on that part. But if you go on Twitter and look up Katie Masuris, because Katie started weighing in on some of that, you'll get some of the backstory on that. Apparently, somebody had found a way to, get execution in Parallels, and there was a nice big fat payout, but there was a bug collision. So.
Yeah, I feel like if there's a bug collision on a program that you're going into, like Pwn to Own, not just a company's vulnerability, like
it's
bug
different.
bounty or vulnerability disclosure program, you pony up money if two people found it simultaneously.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What kills me is if it's bad enough, that should have been fixed before Pwn to Own. Otherwise, the company should have pulled out. If there's an RCE on that and they know about it,
right.
Participate.
Well, and that's what it is, right? If you're going into a
Right.
program like this, and you have RCEs, that's like
horrible idea.
Yeah, your developers should be like, that's Sev 1 type incident stuff. We need to fix it immediately so that whatever version they're testing on won't find that RCE, because that's $200,000 missing from somebody.
Could you imagine just like being a dev and knowing like your dev team knows you have RCEs, or like your security team knows, but then you have another part of the company be like, oh, we're totally going to participate in Pwn to Own. They don't tell anybody. And now you're part of it. And they're like, hey, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
hope you've got a big budget.
Well, yeah. I mean, the devs have got to know that stuff, right? And I don't know where the money comes from. You would think Parallels or Microsoft would have that money socked away somewhere. And if you know that that's going to be found, you're pretty much going to give that up. That's
I just kind of hope it's all already in their budget.
Right.
Like what happens if we majorly have to pay out, like that has to be, and you just can't hope that you're like the most secure company anywhere.
I feel like it has to work similar to like how legal budgets have settlement amounts and like risk. Like there's a whole whole pot of money there for litigation and settlements, and from a company that size. I mean, obviously larger companies have more process around that. I feel like once your bug bounty program gets to a level that you're in Pwn to Own, hopefully that it's set up in a way like that, so you don't all of a sudden be like, oops, we don't have any more money.
Yeah, and some of them do it because they have this idea that they're unhackable or they're super secure, like maybe Parallels. I don't remember Parallels being in any of them before this, but maybe they were. But I'm kind of glad that nobody signed up for the Model 3, because last year I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen to my car? Because, being able to take it over. So yeah. Any last thoughts on that one? It says after the vulnerabilities are exploited and reported, vendors are given 90 days to develop and release fixes until ZDI, Zero Day Initiative, publicly discloses them. I think that's probably 89 days too long for some of these, but yeah. Cool. All right.
I found more tweets about it too that I'll add to the show notes, but the actual person.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, that was it. I was trying to scroll back through Katie Mo's
Eliza.
timeline for that. Yeah. Yeah. She said, Eliza, she said, I can accept it as fact. My successful pronoun participation attracted scrutiny due to
Oh.
arguable and potentially outdated points in the contest rules. So
I didn't realize that she was the first ever female participant either.
Solo, I think, either female and solo as well. So yeah, I'd love to have her on the show just to talk about this stuff after all the dust settles. I think it'd be awesome to have her on. So she's part of 0 Day Training, which is it's like a training org or something. Very cool. 0dayengineering.com. So
very cool.
They've got quality people over there because, she was going to, make some fat bank, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So, or she got less in this case. She didn't get the full amount. She got less. So, but anyway, cool. All right. I don't know what slipstreaming is, but it sounds really awesome. And Chrome is starting to block 10,080 to prevent slipstream hacks. And apparently they said Chrome is going to be blocking HTTPS, FTP, and HTTP access to TCP ports, including 10,080 to protect ports from being exploited from a NAT slipstreaming attack.
I think I've used that port on what we were talking about earlier, load balancers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when they're saying NATs, that means something's got to be here. According to Samy Kamkar, NAT slipstreaming allows an attacker to remotely access any TCP or UDP service bound to any system behind a victim's NAT, which is network address translation, bypassing the victim's NAT or firewall, remote arbitrary firewall pinhole control, by just the victim visiting a website. So there's V1 and V2. So sammy.pl/slipstream. There's a link in the show notes. Okay. It's interesting. They even got pretty data flow diagrams and everything on here. So, and they're animated. Oh, good job, Sammy. This is
their product that I think maps it out for you.
That's pretty cool. It's like manager view. I understand this now because there's arrows and stuff.
There's arrows and pretty diagrams.
Ooh, dotted lines. Yeah. So there's also additional write-ups on there from Ben and Gregory, who've also done some stuff. But so they're blocking these ports because I guess they're well-known attack vectors for slipstreaming. So ports 1719, 1720, 1723, 5060, 5061, 69, 137. 137 is an old NetBIOS one, I believe. 161, which is SNMP, I think, SNMP, and 554, which, it's been a while since I've, had to take my network classes. So yeah, SNMP. Yeah, SNMP is 161. 554 is RTSP.
All good hacker Jeopardy things to remember.
Yes, exactly. And 554, of course, is real-time streaming protocol. I hate that one. Yeah.
It's still allowing Telnet.
Yeah, why not?
Port 2? Yeah, Port 2.
Port 2, yeah. Good old Port 2, yeah. Look, if you've got Cisco kit in your environment, you need Telnet because you can't do anything otherwise. So.
Right.
But so yeah, they're setting those up to make sure that people can't use them for attacks. Let me see here. For users that want to continue using these posts, you have to add an enterprise policy flag to allow developers to use the port by overriding the block. So if you have developers out there that think it's cool to use port 10,080, or, like at a company I used to work for, they set a lot of their services to run on port 4444. Don't do that. What are y'all laughing about back over there?
Just
the NAT slipstreaming, just looking.
Okay. Don't make
sources up.
Yeah, they said most worrisome aspect of relating to 10,080 is many developers may start using it as a replacement to port 80. I guess 8080 and 8080 is getting too crowded. So
yeah, that's why we did it for the load balancing.
Okay.
1080 and then 1081 or something like that is what we
Right.
used. But it was all application based load balancing,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like it was going through. Well, actually,
Yep.
I think it used browser in the back end, maybe. I
Yep.
don't know. But
Yeah. The other upside of people using, anything higher than 1024 is it doesn't require root privileges for binding on Unix systems. So yeah, anything 0 to 1024 needs root to bind to it. And 10,080, I guess, is it doesn't need that. So if the port is blocked and you're using Chrome, the user is displayed a unsafe port error message trying to gain access to the port. So, so yeah, don't use port 4444 for anything, even, for jokies, and don't use 10,080 if you're using it in your environment. So there you go. All right. Anything else we want to talk about? I know you two have a lot going on there with, your detect and defense stuff. I do know that we're starting to get more conferences starting up. Somebody asked about Way West Hacking Fest recently in June. I know that's going to be going on in Nevada. Are you all going to be there at that?
that will be our first physical con since last March.
When was?
Yeah, last March. Orlando.
Was that March?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, long time.
Humor Hacker thing. Yeah, is that happening again?
I already did.
Ah, yes.
A long time. It'll be our first conference in a while.
So organized over there.
So keeping track of both of our schedules.
That you need an EA. You need to get yourselves an EA, to hook that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any volunteer,
so let's say,
feel free to DM Amanda.
There you go. So if I wanted to attend your workshops, what do I need to bring with me, and what do I need to know to be able to do these workshops?
Absolutely nothing. And
so I can go.
You can go. Yes. That's what we tried to do, is make it so it didn't have to be focused on any one particular kind of knowledge.
Okay.
Right. You don't have to you don't have to have any environment set up. You don't have to know, crazy Linux command line knowledge, or you don't have to know threat intel. You could just be like, I'm just a help desk person, or I'm just a manager, or I'm just an engineer. Like, you can literally, no matter what, and you end up getting more than likely placed in a role or title that you don't work in day to day.
Right.
Which is kind of cool, because it kind of puts you in the other person's shoes. Like, all right, I'm a security engineer, but now I'm having to make like legal decisions.
Oh, wow.
To see if my company will survive or not.
Right. And this is a tabletop like exercise that requires the use of dice.
Actually, we built it all into Discord.
No kidding.
And I have to say, we watched as it was built into Discord. If anybody would like give Lintile a shout out on Twitter,
really?
He is amazing.
Okay.
Not only is he like a CISO of a bank and stuff, but he also like just will sit down and do fun game stuff all the time. And he helped us build our Discord bots. It's fantastic.
That's amazing. So it's like a roll-20. So you just use a macro and say, roll die 20 or something.
Yep.
Well, that takes all the fun out of it. I've got my own dice right here. So.
Well, in person we do real dice.
Oh, good. Okay, because I've got all my D20s in here. I've got, Yeah. I played my.
And it's much more difficult when you have a large class online to have a bunch of people rolling dice and trying to confirm what's happening.
Yeah. My bad. Sorry for all the audio issues.
I was saying, did you just drop all your
What'd you
dice?
roll? What'd you roll?
It rolled on the floor, so you can't.
It doesn't matter. You don't touch it, man.
Well, it was a 4. I rolled a 4 on a dice.
Oh,
sorry. I actually rolled a nat 20 on my dice tray. I have a dice tray, so Yeah. I have a monthly D&D game.
Like the podcast is now canceled.
Oh, I critted on my 20, so I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, I play a 5e game on weekends with my friends. So I'm trying to actually start a Fate game, which is very cool. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. So cool. So Lentile helped out with that. That's pretty awesome. And can people just join your Discord if they're not taking the class? Are there other channels for that?
No, they cannot. Not
currently,
not right now. Anyways.
Currently, it's made just for the game because we're getting some people added in there, and it will get built by the game. So the whole all the organizations and stuff are built. People are putting the teams all through the bot.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Wow, Lentile, he's a Renaissance man. So
I know he really is. And then so we're doing that training. That's what Jeremy's here. We're doing that training this week online through Wawa's Hacking Fest.
Okay.
Strictly all online for 4 days. And then we're also giving it both in person and virtual for their Way West Hacking Fest in Reno. Okay. We've started to offer it to companies internally.
Wow. Okay.
Like a company wants to do it. We have offerings for that now, which is pretty cool.
Very nice.
Can't say what I want to say for that, but also we're working on a book.
Okay.
Kind of like you explain it better because I'm not as big of a D&D nerd.
Yeah, I'll go full D&D nerd.
Super.
So we're working on like a campaign expansion book that actually is even more expanded into the D&D role-playing realm. We're building like a little DM's guide, a little player's guide.
Nice.
So you could actually build out your characters, your organization, and there's going to be skill sets and all kinds of stuff. And I can't really even say
monsters and NPCs.
There's going to be a lot of stuff, and there's teasers going out on Twitter about this. So we can't, we're trying to put a little teasers here and there, but it will be a fully functional tabletop game. People could get the book and go and play in their cyber realm.
Damn, that's awesome. Now all you need is Roll20 integration and you'd be solid.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry, I went full D&D geek there. So
we tried using Roll20 for the initial online method. It just didn't work well. So half of our training is also just doing basic tabletops and building out instant response playbooks. And then with those playbooks, you get to use certain actions in the game or not. So it's almost like
sick.
You build your playbooks, and your character, which is in our base training, is just your organization. And your organization can only, do what's on your skill, your scrolls, right, or whatever you want to call them. Nice. So we tried recreating that into Roll20.
Really clunky.
It was clunky. Probably could be. We put a lot of elbow grease around it, trying to make it virtual, and that was when it was only in person. So we probably could revisit at some point. But Discord works really well, especially with all the integrations and the bots and the stuff. So it could probably be done in Roll20 now. But we were trying to go full D&D.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like using Fate because it's quite adaptable. So they have like aspects and they have stunts and skills. So it's very similar. But I like playing pretty much anything. Mech Warrior or BattleTech, anything like that. Just to date myself there, folks. BattleTech is giant mechs. Before it was cool to be a giant mech. So, but that sounds pretty cool. So if people wanted to find out about this stuff, how would they do so?
We don't have a website yet. It's kind
What's your Twitter like?
What's
Twitter?
InfoSec Roleplay at InfoSec Roleplay, right?
At InfoSec Roleplay.
Like either one. Okay.
At InfoSec Roleplay. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, and as far as the book goes, we're working with SciDef Labs.
Okay.
So it's like a 3-person and maybe eventually 4-person thing.
Okay.
Just
are you going to release?
Who doesn't need another project?
Right. Exactly. Are you going to release the D&D source book stuff, Detect and Defense, not the other D&D, under like a open game license or something like that?
It is being worked out, and more will come to that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was just making sure because
We just started not too long ago.
Yeah, we're
Right.
working with SciDef Labs to roll it out properly, but we're going to try to go through all the right mechanisms, right, to make sure it's
Right.
successful and, you know,
Because it's called Dorks and Desk Jockeys.
it is.
Oh, dorks and wait, desk jockeys? What the hell is that? Is that a help desk person?
Kinda.
It's whoever
Okay.
you want.
Whoever's
it to
at the
be.
desk.
It's whoever you want.
Whoever's
it to
at
be.
the desk.
It's whoever you want it to be.
Oh my God. Okay. That's no. No. Oh my God. Okay. We need to go because that's hilarious. Wow. Okay. Okay. So, how would people find either one of you if you mentioned it earlier, Jeremy, but Ms. Berlin, how would people find you if you just wanted to talk about security, Blumera, any other, election security? I know that we had Jeremy on for some election security stuff, or, how to work with state officials or, whatever. How would they find y'all?
You go first.
You can find me on Twitter at cyborg00101. I'm working on a smaller handle maybe at some point, but that's where you can find me.
I'm trying to figure out what that is in binary. It's 5, right?
Yeah.
00101 cyborg. Yep. 5. Yeah. Okay.
Some zeros. Yeah.
Less zeros. That would work. Yeah. Cool. And Miss Berlin.
At InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR. At
Awesome.
Hackers Health.
At Hackers Health.
InfoSec Roleplay. At BlueMiraSec. At, I don't know. I have 10 other ones probably at this point.
Okay.
Start.
I just realized we didn't talk about the Hackers Who Paint thing. Do you want to do a real quick thing on that?
Yeah. So
mental health.
Yeah, through Mental Health Hackers, again, like we keep on trying to think of things to do with the money that we have, because normally it would have been used for conferences and massages and yoga and all that kind of stuff, right? But now we just don't have anything to do with it because of all this last year. So what we decided to do was a sponsored paint class. So we have somebody that contacted me to do an interview once, and then we got to talk about painting and how she loves like doing painting for her like family and friends and coworkers and stuff like that, like lead classes.
Okay.
So we came up with the idea to do a Hackers Who Paint class. So
awesome.
Her name is Haley. She works with Gray Castle, and she is going to be leading it. And both the InfoSec Education Foundation and HackerOne are sponsoring the paint kits. So we got to send out to people that needed it 30 different paint kits, which now that I've done it, I will definitely start restricting to just the United States. Because shipping paint kits to the Netherlands and India and the UK is very expensive. So it's still fine. Like we still have the money. No worries with that. But it's going to be super fun. It's in May at some point. If you check out our Twitter, all the info's there. All the sponsored paint kits are already taken, but you can still participate if you bring your own paintbrush and kit. And you can just go sign up, and we have, I think, over 60 people signed up already.
Nice.
So it should be a lot of fun. And it's for anybody, whether you know how to paint or not.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Just as an aside, InfoSec Education Foundation did sponsor some of those things as well. So I just don't have the invoice yet, Ms. Berlin. So that will be coming. So you can paint some happy little trees and some, happy little clouds if you want to. Get old Bob Ross, man. Get old Bob Ross on that. Yeah. Get your yellow ochre and whatever. Yeah. So cool. All right. Well, that sounds awesome. Definitely want to check that out. And if you're interested in doing so, go grab some paints. If you have any questions about which paint sets to get, I'm sure you can reach out to Ms. Berlin and
it's all on the Eventbrite.
Oh, okay.
Everything's on Eventbrite. Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking if you don't get a paint kit from them, you could go to Amazon and, figure out which ones you can get or, paper or whatever it is you need. So cool. All right. So BreakSec, we've got a Slack going on. We have a lot of discussion on there about, various topics. If you're interested in joining us, you can send us a DM to BreakSec, which is our official BreakSec podcast handle on Twitter. We also have an email, bds.podcast@gmail.com. Mr. Betcher, which he's MIA. I don't know where he is. I hope he's okay because he didn't reply to my text earlier. I'm hoping he's out on vacation. He may still be out hiking. I don't know. So we'll see what happened with him and hopefully get him back next week. You can find him on Twitter at BetcherPwned, BOETTCHERPWNED. Also check out his software at log-md.com. For Windows forensics and logging purposes. And you can follow me on Twitter at Brian Brake, BRYANBRAKE. Just had an board meeting of InfoSec Education Foundation before the podcast here with Ms. Berlin. She's one of my board members. And we're working out infosecCampout 2021. We're going to be doing an in-person event, but very low key here in the Seattle area. Probably no more than 30 or 40 people at the campout. We will have speakers. We're looking for speakers to come and speak if you're in the Seattle area specifically. We'll be putting out an Eventbrite and a CFP where people can do, come and speak. We'll have some hand-picked speakers. That way we can maintain some diversity. We are going to try to find diversity in the CFP, but we want to hedge our bets on that. We just don't want a bunch of, to be frank, a bunch of white dudes speaking at a conference as per usual. So there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're a white dude. But there is a problem with it for everyone else. So we
Nobody
want representation.
Council is allowed to come speak.
Oh my!
Snap.
No, I'm not going to talk about EC Council. They've made that bed and they're going to sleep in that for a while. So, but what we want at our conference is representation. So we're going to be looking for hand-picking speakers who might be available to come and speak, as well as people who can, make the grade on the CFP. So we also we're still trying to finalize whether or not Ms. Berlin will be joining us to do her D&D desktops and dorks, dorks and desk jockeys. That's what it is. Dorks and desk jockeys in August, at the end of August, 27th through 29 August is when it is. So it'll be outside. So bring your tents, bring your sleeping bags. I don't know, bring umbrellas maybe, but it'll be nice and warm. So you can check out our Twitter at infosecCampout. It's very easy, infosecCampout. And there's we'll update the website as soon as we get more information about how we're going to do the Eventbrite and the CFP and all that. So cool. All right. Well, that's it for this week on Breaking Down Security. Jeremy, thank you for coming. You're always welcome. If you stop by Miss Berlin's house for Doritos or whatever it is you're going by for, just talking strategy with desktops and jockeys.
Yeah, steak tonight. So
no shit.
Yeah, he shows up like 5 minutes later.
Red carpet's out.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
He's like, oh, I smell something. Oh, wow. I'll just stick around for some steak. It's fine. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, Jeremy, again, thank you for coming and being our third nacelle here, which is great. And Miss Berlin, always good to see you. And we'll talk to y'all next week. That was it for Breaking Down Security. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to one another. Don't get your damn vaccine, please, and wash your hands. And make sure you mask up and take care of yourself, because that's how vaccines and masks and washing your hands do. They help you take care of yourself and others. And we want you around for years to come to listen to the show. So take care of yourselves, like I say, because you're the only you have. And we'll talk to you again soon.